Today's episode is on physical resilience. This is our ability to bounce back following a negative health stressor, or as I like to call it in the clinic, the silver bullet on how to recover from your next inevitable setback. Whether it's stress related or a physical injury, building a reservoir of resilience allows room for the setbacks of life. Whether it's a sickness, a fall, or the inactivity associated with a global pandemic, we're going to discuss how resiliency can serve us. We probably all know someone, a parent or loved one, that had a negative health stressor that they were unable to recover from, whether it was pneumonia, a fall, a spine fracture, just to name a few. For sake of this episode, negative health stressors come in many different shapes and sizes. They could be the emotional toll of taking care of your spouse. They could be an acute injury or even cancer treatment. These setbacks are unavoidable and often unpredictable. So how do we physically bounce back from events we can't even prepare for? We become a rubber band. Of course, the strongest, most flexible rubber band we can. A rubber band encapsulates our collective strength, flexibility, endurance, and overall fitness. The more we can pull our bodies safely in each direction, the less likely we are to encounter a pulled hamstring, back pain, or hip bursitis. Now that I've got your attention on resiliency, if strength isn't a problem for you, how about a flexibility goal or an endurance goal? Your resilience can either be a bucket from a well or a reservoir to pull from. For instance, one might start a strength program to build the endurance necessary to garden for 6 hours at a time instead of 4. Each muscle, joint, and nerve has a supply and demand associated with it, just like in laws of economics. In this graph, we see our physical function or resilience on the left vertical bar and a red line indicating a demand of our particular activity. Let's say, for instance, that demand is carrying a laundry basket up the stairs. The red X marks an injury that this guy just performed. In this case, the demand was too much for our physical abilities. You pulled your back. A spasm of pain is left in its wake. In the most basic sense, these acute or quick injuries are when the demand of an activity is greater than the supply of your resilience. I was thinking about how to present this material last week, and sure enough, the material kind of spoke to me as I did a 10K trail race this weekend, and I caught my foot on a technical uphill portion. I was trying to keep my speed, but my legs weren't moving as fast as I thought they were. So I caught my toe and banged my knee against a rock. I cut it open, but looked really tough when I finished that race with a busted knee. In my case, my physical function in the realm of footwork or agility did not meet the demands of speed plus rocky uphill terrain. So whether it's pulling your back from the laundry basket or a 10K trail race, these principles apply to all of us no matter our age, but become even more important as we age. So why have a strength goal? I ask you all. Because for a majority of us, these three anecdote people are simplified versions of our options in the realm of physical aging. There is so much variability among fitness levels and age. For lack of a better analogy, we're going to start with most 30-year-olds' physical activity levels. They can all climb a flight of stairs, they can touch their toes, and the post-hike beers are just as tasty among all of them. But I'm curious if those people look different from the outside when they're 30, and then what changes with age? But with age comes many micro setbacks along the way. Having children, getting busy, getting out of shape, traveling for work, it all takes its toll on our physical health. So whether you're 85 or 75 or 65, this premise still applies. Here we have three 82-year-olds with a variety of different fitness levels. They all have different levels of function, different habits, and in our case, different rubber bands of function. With that man on the left, a flight of stairs might be impossible. He has knee pain, he lacks balance, strength, coordination, and he appears to be walking with a walker. So that task of going upstairs might just be too much for him. But I'd imagine these other two folks, one lifting what appears to be a heavy weight, and the one on the far right running in a race, they might not think twice about going up a flight of stairs with a load of laundry in their hands. And that's how a large reservoir of function helps to serve us. If you haven't seen my lifespan of health episode, please give that a view after this video, as it'll go into great detail on how you can change this slope and the lifespan of health. One of the main differences between these categories is in their resiliency reserve. So we're going to talk about the fun, which is at the top, and the frailty category. We can take a look at the resiliency reserves in green. The person in the fun category on the left has built up a larger reservoir. Whether it's lifestyle habits of daily walking, weekly weight training, or cross-country skiing, whatever the case may be, that circle has a lot of room for error. This will protect us from setbacks we may incur physically, mentally, or emotionally down the line. The green circle on the right, under the frail side, is much smaller. Instead of a reservoir, it's closer to a well. Which would you rather have in your backyard? Or in our analogy, how about after a fall? It's a pretty common occurrence for older adults and for trail runners who catch their toes. I have both 65-year-olds and 85-year-olds that present to my office following a fall. And in every case, the larger the resiliency reserve, the faster the recovery. In summary, part 1 was the foundational whys for building resiliency. Why it is important to be a strong rubber band as we age. Why it's better to have a reservoir of resiliency opposed to a well. And why you should have a strength goal for your unique aging needs. But now what? Look no further than part 2 of this series, as it'll be chock full of the how-to side of the equation, practical matters associated with resiliency, how to turn what ails you into what helps you, how to get started on your journey into creating strength and endurance as you age. Whether your goal is to play on the ground with your grandkids or to hike 6 miles on rocky terrain, there's going to be a fitness plan for you. I'm happy to get you started on your way.